Hey guys, welcome into tonight's buzzer beater from the logo edition of the Locky Top Sports podcast reaction show. I'm Josh. I'm joined here by my buddy Andrew. We've had a bit of a 2.5 week sabbatical, but my God, what a way to come back tonight. Vols beat Alabama 79-76 after an absolutely gut-wrenching at times performance, but a very gritty and defensive battle that ended in probably the best way you could draw it up. Jemai Mashack from 36 feet out, draining the three to put the Vols over the Tide. Andrew, initial reactions, coming in following the game, and welcome back. It's been a couple weeks since we've been on. Good to be back.
Yeah, good to be here. I've been sort of away for work travel and was kind of like sick the week before and such. So, took a while, but here now. Good to be back, and what a game to be back for, right? Buzzer beater at the logo from the summit. I believe he was stepping right by the word summit or just ahead of it. So
yeah,
and like the least expected person to drill that. I mean, I would believe it if it was like a Gainey or Milicic or Chaz, even Ziegler, right? But then Mashack, I feel like he's always like very hesitant to shoot. His percentages are like okay, but again, very generally like that's like the criticism is that he always passes on the open three, but he took it. It's almost like how the announcers sort of predicted, hey, they can get 3 dribbles and then launch a buzzer beater, and that's what happened. So Dick Vitale, he may be old and sometimes out of it, but he predicted it very correctly.
Yeah, Dickie V definitely brought the magic. It was good to see him back, but it was kind of a struggle at times to listen to him. But God bless him. I can't really talk that much either because I'm also recovering from I think this flu or plague that's been going around. But man, I'm also suffering from screaming at the TV because that's probably the most amped I've been actually watching a Tennessee basketball game in a while. Obviously, for the opponent being Alabama, a lot of things were on the line tonight. Seeding purposes for the upcoming SEC tournament, and then also the NCAA tournament. And it's March 1st. So the madness is starting today, as we saw here in Knoxville. With Tennessee getting a huge win over Alabama. So, Andy, I know you're my stats guy, man, and I want to give you a little bit of time, but a huge performance tonight again from Mashack at the logo. I mean, he dropped 11 points. That's typically more than we get out of him. But he kind of filled in some scoring gaps where we had a lot of foul trouble tonight. I think the fouls were tilted pretty heavily in Alabama's favor, especially early in the first half. I mean, they were in the double bonus, I think, by the 11-minute mark in the first half. Zakai Ziegler not playing most of the first half because 2 quick fouls called on him. Igor Milicic, I think, fouled out of the game with 4 minutes left. But we got some solid minutes out of D-Stone Dubar tonight. Cade Phillips came in and he, also got in a lot of foul trouble, but when he was in the game, I think he provided a good presence in the paint. And then also great guard play tonight from Zakai Ziegler there in the second half. And then obviously Chaz Lanier, he did the thing. He scored 18 and really got us some buckets when we really needed it. So I'm going to pass it to you, man. What was some of the biggest stats that really stood out to you tonight that probably gave Tennessee the edge?
Obviously you nailed it. Obviously like can't skip Mashack. Not only just a buzzer beater, but he played second most minutes. Due to a lot of the bigs sort of being in foul trouble. Only Okpara had played 1 more minute than Jemai at 34 minutes, and he scored in double digits, 6 rebounds, and he's had a couple of assists, steals and blocks, like 3 steals, 2 blocks. Like that's like a, pretty crazy to see in a college game, right? Like, even you don't even see that in the NBA. 3 steals and 2 blocks. I feel like that kind of was the reason why Alabama was in that scoring drought, while Tennessee was catching back up in the last 8 to 3 minutes or so. We were like, I mean, obviously we had our offensive droughts, but we also locked them up. And again, that's the Rick Barnes special. Great defense, shed offense, but at the end of the day, we're able to grind it out. Gainey, not much from the 3-point land, unfortunately, but still very solid. 6 of 13. A couple of rebounds.
18 points though.
Yeah,
Still
18 points. That's what you want from the the 6th man, basically. Filled in nicely for ZZ. ZZ, I thought was okay. I mean, like, it's hard to get in a rhythm when you're in foul trouble and just kind of sitting. And I'm sure he was like being a little bit tilted, trying to be a little bit more careful about things, but gotta make the free throws. So that's gonna it's gonna really come back and bite us. Especially in the tournament. And we need his driving to the basket and the penetration, kick out skills. If he's not able to do that, and if he's gonna get fouled a lot, very very it's not like he's LeBron driving to the basket, right? Like he's not gonna be able to finish the shots like those bigger players. So hitting free throws is just crucial, and for him to go 5 of 9, that's just like unacceptable. I mean, at the end of the day, he's always providing on the defensive side of things, and we were able to grind one out. So huge props. And for I would say the unsung hero obviously would be Coach Barnes. I felt like he used his timeouts very in the right time. He was trying to like cut the scoring droughts.
Yeah, he's very strategic about how he used them today.
Yeah, which was like my biggest complaint is I felt like he wasn't doing a lot during in-game adjustments to figure out the situation, change the change the lineup. So no complaints from me in terms of coaching.
Yeah, so I'm seeing some guys and gals coming into the stream tonight. Again, we're on here tonight talking about Tennessee's huge win over the Crimson Tide. It was really a matchup of 2 Goliaths in the SEC. Looking for seeding purposes, moving forward into the postseason, and it lived up to the billing. I mean, it was a Donnybrook, to say the least, there tonight. Again, it really, for me, pulls at my heartstrings because Meshack, I think, you think of him as a gritty player, a good defender. We always have him playing our opponent's best player. He doesn't get a lot of love as far as, the media giving him all the hype that always goes to the Chaz Lanier's and the Dalton Connects and the Zakai Zigglers. But tonight, I mean, he showed up in the post-game interview there at the end with Molly McGrath. I think really showed how much that Meshack meant to the team. So for all of you guys that are watching tonight, feel free to jump in the chat. Let us know what you thought. What do you think this means for Tennessee going forward? Does this propel us as we start getting into tournament play? I think it does. And I think what it did tonight, especially with some of the key guys being in foul trouble, is it put a lot of people in position to be under stress in a big game that you just can't put a price tag on the type of experience that those guys got tonight. And they didn't shrink when the moment got too big, right? They kept answering time in and time out. So, Andrew, getting into tournament play, I know we got a couple of regular season games left, but nothing like Alabama's got to face as they close out their season. They have Florida and Auburn as their last 2 games. So when we're closing it out here and we're getting ready for tournament time, where do you see the trajectory of the Vols?
I think assuming everything goes chalk, this was a huge matchup for determining who's gonna be the number 1 seed in one of the regions. Again, that could change. Like you said, Alabama has tough matchups left, and Tennessee always has a history of fumbling when things are all set nicely for them. And we often complain about why we just can't take what's on the table for us. Like we have to just flip the table over and refuse to eat what's given to us. So just need to like close out the season, 2 games, Ole Miss and South Carolina. And as long as we close that out, I'm not worried about like SEC tournament seeding or the tournament results as much. Committee, as we always talked about, have shown that they don't really incorporate the tourney results, especially for the top teams. We saw that when we won the tournament a couple of years ago. We also saw that last year, despite the early exit, we weren't punished as much. Still grabbed the number 2 seed. So practically, I think this locked up the number 1 seed. It'll be interesting to see where they place us. I guess depending on after Auburn, Houston, and Duke. But yeah, definitely a good win. Obviously, it didn't have any implications in terms of the SEC regular season title or anything like that. But like you said, I think it's gonna provide a very, like a playoff March Madness type of game, right? Very intense, back and forth, just fighting back, figuring out defensive stops, figuring out, how to get the ball through the basket. This is a second buzzer beater for the Vols this season after Gainey's layup. So, that's just
the Illinois game. Man, that seems like 1,000 years ago at this point.
Right.
But
so yeah, it is very crazy. I mean, this one's a little bit more dramatic, just given the caliber of opponents, the history, the rivalry, as well as just how far from the net it was. But yeah, all in all, can't complain. Looking forward to how March goes.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think Tennessee, I think they've got a good opportunity. Obviously, to end the season here with Ole Miss and South Carolina, close them out, go 2-0. Do you think Tennessee has to win their I guess quarterfinal game in the SEC tournament to lock in the 1 seed?
I don't think so, and I just say that just because again, like I think who could potentially replace us is like Alabama, maybe like Texas Tech, right? So even if Tennessee, again, assuming that we close out the season, regular season, I don't think the tourney results will matter. In fact, last year, we got our asses handed by Mississippi State.
Mississippi State, yeah,
right. And we almost lost by like 20, and that still had like no seeding implications. We, I think we were ranked number 5, dropped to ranked number 6, but then still 2 seed on the bracket. So again, like I think Alabama has it pretty tough. I don't know that they're gonna pull out 2 victories against those opponents, and as long as they can't jump us, I don't think the tourney results gonna matter that much, to be honest.
Yeah. Do you think Ole Miss is a tournament team, NCAA tournament team? They're 20-9, and they have a 9-7 conference record. They're not ranked. I don't know if it's one of those where they like the last 4 out or first 4 out. Do you think they're going to be playing a little bit for their postseason life in this midweek game?
I mean, they should, right? Like they would have a chance, I think, with the Alabama win. You give them a solid resume booster with the Q1, not only just Q1, but also just kind of like a ranked opponent. I mean, they're still gonna be ranked. Like Alabama's not gonna drop that much as a number 5 team losing to number 6 team on a buzzer beater in an away game. So it's still their chance to prove what they're about. And yeah, I mean, like again, it's a conference game. There's no not trying hard in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean I think they squeaked one out against Oklahoma today. Oklahoma, obviously, I think we beat them pretty handedly. I want to say it was close to 30 when we went down to Norman a couple weeks. I think that was the last show that we did. It was a pretty quick show because I mean it was just an absolute baby seal clubbing. But I do pause. I always have concern when Tennessee goes on the road. Doesn't matter if it's football or basketball. but I feel pretty confident we can close these two teams out. So, do you think that winning this game tonight, obviously putting us in a good position for the 1 seed, are we going to get the last 1 seed, or are they going to put us above Houston?
Good question. Houston always has like good metrics. They do like I almost feel like they're, every year you look at these like, net ratings, and things like that. They're always like hanging out in the top 5, and has been for a while, because they do what the top teams are supposed to do. They beat the shit out of like mediocre to bad teams, and they pull out wins against good teams. Like this year, maybe they don't have like a signature great wins, but I do think, unless they like have any issues, like I feel like the committee's kind of always put Houston in a very favorable spot, and rightfully so. I mean, that's the criteria, and at least their criteria is very, they're it's a little bit more like transparent than say like football committee, where they just go flip flop, and kind of like value, oh well, this is a quality loss or whatever, like unquantifiable standards, right?
Right.
Very very subjective. Whereas, whether you like the metrics or not, I feel like when it comes to March Madness tournament setting, there's some like ways, and it's very like open to public. Again, like there's some subjectivity there, but there's a lot of bracketologists that can like reasonably predict what the 1 seed is gonna be, who's gonna be like the first last 4 in, first 4 out, because they state their criteria clearly. So I feel like I might not personally agree with it, because I feel like having good wins, my sort of metric always that I like is like who have you played? Like if you just beat the shit out of everybody, like does that really matter? But that being said, I feel like the committee is gonna favor them, and I can't really say, hey, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. So.
And here's my favorite thing that we've not been able to bring up as much throughout the year, because Stats by Indy, life and work and everything else has been happening this year. But this is one of our favorite things that we like to bring up. Again, this is the 2025 Ken Pomeroy college basketball ratings. And you look at these net ratings right now, coming into this week. Duke, Auburn, Houston, Florida, Tennessee, Bama. Obviously we have to slide up a little bit, I think, with that number win over number 6. Mm-hmm. And Alabama has a chance to knock Florida off, I think. They're going to be fighting and clawing and scratching when they play the Gators in their midweek game, and then they have Auburn. So there's actually a chance, I think, that Tennessee here could really move up maybe to this 3 area on the KenPom ratings, and then honestly might even get the number 2 overall seed.
Yeah, I mean, that would be awesome. Again, like you look at that the second to last column on the right, so it's kind of like hidden with the logo, but that's the strength of schedule net rating. So you look at Alabama, Duke, Auburn has the number 1 opponent strength of schedule. They're basically saying Auburn, and it makes sense, right? Because they played Duke as their non-conference game, and then they playing in the SEC. And so on. And similarly, you look at Tennessee, number 15, Alabama 3, because they play Auburn twice. We've only had to play Auburn once. And you look at Houston, it's like their strength of schedule is like not that great.
No,
same for Duke, but Duke again, like
they're trapped in the ACC,
right? And that's why. But Duke's also like they got that signature win, and they don't only have like. I feel like at the end of the day, like Duke and Auburn, they're gonna flip flop on the number 1 or number 2 overall seeds, and then 3 through 5 is basically gonna be some combination of Houston, Florida, Tennessee, Bama. I don't think the winning an SEC championship is gonna really matter, because committee usually has all the brackets filled out by then, and they just put the de facto championship winner, and we've seen that with Tennessee. When we won the tournament a couple years ago. So, and it didn't move us, whereas Kentucky was already set at the two a 2 seed spot, and we were a 3 seed, despite beating them in the SEC tournament and winning the whole thing. So again, like I don't think Alabama or Florida is gonna jump, Tennessee just because like Tennessee flames out of the SEC tournament early, if that happens. But I do think that where they're gonna put Houston. Houston's metrics are always like really good. You look at those a little, little numbers, not the big ones, next to next to the stats. Houston has number 8 overall offense, number 2 overall defense. Tennessee, we have the number 1 defense, but obviously our offense is 25th best in the nation, and so on. So, they have metrics. By metrics, I think it's fair to put Houston above Tennessee, even if I don't agree with it. Again, just because like those are the things that committee said they're gonna utilize, and then like the whole like quadrant, Q1 wins and things like that. These like strength of schedule method that Ken Palm uses isn't really like one of the criteria that they look at. So, I think it's fair game that they put Houston at probably 3, and then the last 1 seed spot between, Florida, Tennessee, and Alabama. I think hopefully we get the 1 seed, but even if we get 2 seed, like I don't think it's that bad, because if we get the 2 seed, I think there's a chance that we'll get in as long as we can avoid Auburn. I think that's all that matters. I don't think you should be wanting to play Auburn. Florida is like a toss-up. I mean, we've lost, we've won. Alabama is a tough team too. But I feel like Auburn is just an absolute team that we want to avoid. If we get stuck in the same bracket as Duke, I feel like that'll be awesome. Tennessee Duke matchup again. We've had that a few years ago. And there'll be a lot of eyes on it with Cooper Flag, being the sort of the number 1 prospect.
Yeah, I completely agree. Cooper Flag is going to be a problem, but when we break down this Ken Palm rankings here, I think you did a really good job of highlighting them with those net rankings here with their defensive and offensive efficiencies. So that kind of leads me into our next discussion. While we're going to close it out here in a little bit, but we haven't really talked any future bets, man. So I know I mentioned earlier, March 1st. Lucky Top Sports wouldn't be Lucky Top Sports without giving some future bets, some good bets here. So when we really break this down, Andy, who do you give your pre-conference tournament nod based on the body of work, the best chance for you to be your team to cut down nets in March?
I feel like this is the year where things look like very, very chalky. I feel like from the 2 seed line, like I don't see any like team. Maybe if Alabama ends up as the 2 seed, so if it's like a Auburn, Houston, Duke, Houston, Tennessee, and then Florida, Bama, Texas Tech, and maybe like a Michigan State or Gonzaga. Like I feel like Bama, Florida are probably the ones to watch out for. But then, the 1 seeds are like so strong this year that I feel like it's just going to be very chalky, at least as it stands right now. Maybe Duke is the weakest 1 seed in a way, just based on their body of work, with, their schedule being so sort of a weak. But then they do have the signature win over Auburn. So, I think like if I had to pick one most likely futures bet, I think my money would be on Auburn. And then I think the dark horse would be Florida. Florida is at like
really? Dark horse for Florida.
Yeah, I think the odds are very good because Bama is at 1,200. That was before plus 1,200. That was before this game. Tennessee was at plus 1,800. I think that odds are gonna go up now.
Yeah, Tennessee's 18-1 right now to win the national championship. Florida's 10-1. I think to make Final Four, Tennessee's plus 330, and then you have plus 200 for Florida. So, I mean, you get in that neck of the woods as far as your odds. That you're taking some really big gambles. So I think and these are all coming from ESPN Bet, so they're not feeling very confident in it. But they do like Auburn, so I think you're kind of in line with what they're putting out on their site. Duke, Houston, and Bama still above the Gators in Tennessee. I still say watch out for teams like Iowa State. They've been very consistent all year. St. John's, they're hot, and then they have Rick Pitino. Man, I think Rick Pitino, he's one of those guys that always performs well in March. He gets his teams ready to play, and I'll never discount them. And you have some other teams in the SEC that are still out there that could do pretty well. I think Texas A&M has some potential, and then also another Big Ten school. We played them earlier. We mentioned them. Illinois has a good opportunity, I think, to make some deep runs, because I think those are the teams that we're going to see on the 2 and 3 seed lines. I don't know that it's going to be as chalk as it was last year. I think with the exception of NC State, we had 3 number 1 seeds in the Final Four last year.
Right.
I think we might get 2 this year, maybe. And again, I think it all shake out. For Auburn, Tennessee, Houston, and Duke to be your top 4 seeds. Out of those 4, I think Houston and Tennessee is going to be in my Final Four.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Call me a homer if you want to. But I really think
so. This is the first year we make it.
I think Rick Barnes is going to make it. I think we got a special guest here. He's repping the swag. Come on over here, JD. Hey man, what's up? Why don't you say hi to the to the show? Get in front of the camera, man. Are you gonna tell him what you told me when we were watching the Bama game? Is Tennessee gonna make the Final Four? Go ahead, speak into the mic. Tell them what's gonna happen. What do we got to do to make the Final Four? Go ahead and tell them.
We had to play hard and work consistent.
Yeah,
there we go.
Right.
Play hard and work consistent. All right. This guy played hard in his game today. So got a big win for him in the rec league today, right, buddy? Mm-hmm. All right. So
was that how many points did you get, JD?
JD, how many points you scored today, buddy?
20.
20 points.
Is that your career high?
Yeah, today was career high for JD.
Did you get the game ball? Should have kept the game ball.
He didn't get a game ball, but he kind of did. So we kind of had a deal. I want to preface this that this is not a pay for play, right? It wasn't like, hey, son, go out and score 20 and we'll get it and win and we'll get you a ball. This was something that he'd been asking for. So everybody knows, if you've been following our show and you know me and you know Andrew or really anybody associated with our friend group, all of us are huge Kobe fans. In 2025 was You're the Mamba. Yeah, see, he knows. And he's like, Dad, if we beat the best team in our rec league in the last game of the season, can we go to Dick's and get the Black Mamba edition basketball? Because his other basketball is getting a little worn out. And I was like, yeah, man, if we win, I got you.
Nice.
And he went and showed out. So we're gonna go get the Black Mamba ball at Dick's tomorrow. And
yeah, what a great day for for just basketball and you personally. Your son goes out there and drops 20, and then boom, your team gets a buzzer beater. Can't get any better than that, honestly, in terms of the sports fandom.
That's right. And JD's always repping a brand. So Locky Top Sports is #1 fan and #1 player. Hopefully we can get him an NIL deal here pretty soon. Get him sponsored. But anyway, JD, it's past your bedtime, buddy. So we're gonna get you on out of here. I think your mom's looking for you. So tell everybody good night.
Good night.
Tell them go Vols.
Go Vols.
All right. There you go.
All right.
Sorry for the unexpected guest, but a pleasant surprise there. So he really wanted to get on because he was excited about all things basketball today. So
yeah, you gotta brag a little bit, dropping 20.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know where he got that from. Definitely wasn't from me. I guess he got all that talent from his mom. So shout out to Kayla. Appreciate that.
Only the swag. Only the swag.
That's right. That's right.
Swag comes from the dad.
Swag comes from dad. Talent comes from mom. So anyway, well, so again, to get back to the Final Four discussion, my national championships teams, again, don't think it's going to be chalk. I think Tennessee is going to get across the finish line this year.
So is this going to be like the
farewell to Rick Barnes? Yeah.
Like
happy ever
Manning,
after, maybe
98 situation where the best player ever we had goes out, can't make the Final Four. And then, when he moves on is the year that we finally breaks the curse.
Well, it might be, and I would argue that we do have a chance to see that the best player in Tennessee history might just be Zakai Ziegler. So, I think I might have lost you there, Andy, for a second, but so I think ZZ, if we make the Final Four, I think he could cement himself firmly as the greatest Vol of all time.
I always think about that, and it's like, when you say, greatest, player versus greatest, X, like greatest Vol, greatest Laker, whatever it is, it's like Toronto, right? Like greatest player ever to play for Toronto Raptors is Kawhi Leonard, got him a first ever championship, but then he's not the
Vince
greatest
Carter.
Raptor.
Vince Carter is the greatest Raptor of all time, man.
Right.
But I would say with this, I don't think that Dalton Connect could be the greatest Vol of all time. He's the greatest player. He could be the greatest player, exactly. But the greatest Vol basketball player right now is Chris Lofton. Hands down. Right now is Chris Lofton. And by the way, March 10th, ESPN Films is going to release a documentary about Vol for Life on Chris Lofton and his senior year when he should have won the Wooden Award. You can argue with me and all day long, and I'll tell you to go argue with the wall. He should have won the Wooden Award. No doubt about that. He was, hiding from, I think his teammates. I think Coach Pearl in the athletic department, that he had testicular cancer and he battled through that. So there's going to be a lot of big time Vol for Life cameos. You got Candace Parker, one of my all time favorite lady VFLs. Talking about greatest Vol. She's been a great ambassador for the school and for the brand for Tennessee for many, many years. But Bruce Pearl obviously going to be in a cameo appearance there, but it's going to talk about the journey of Chris in Tennessee basketball, right, wrong, or indifferent. You think about the late 80s and the early 90s and the struggles of the National Basketball Association. There was a guy by the name of Michael Jordan that resurrected that association from almost ending. Like we wouldn't have any NBA had it not been for the superstar that Michael Jordan, became. And I would argue that Tennessee basketball was on life support before we had, number 5 arrive on the scene. And Chris Lofton really did, a lot of great things for our program. Thompson Bowling wouldn't look like it looks today if it wasn't for Chris Lofton. So excited for that documentary to post. ESPN Films always does a great job. Probably shed a tear too, because I'm a softie when it comes to those kind of things. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to that. But again, to your question, I really do think that there might be some magic here where, right. we had every opportunity in the world with DK and the team and everything last year. Just ran into Fal Ming at Purdue, and it didn't work out. Maybe this year is the year. So there's one clear-cut great team in college basketball this year, and I'd say that's Auburn. Mm-hmm. But as you and I both know, beware the odds of March.
Right, right.
Odysseus said it himself. He had some foresight that was way above his time. I think he was really talking about college basketball instead of returning home.
Yeah, and so like you said, I think unfortunate that the last year ended like that, but we've seen it happen in football, right? Arguably the best quarterback Tennessee had / will ever have leaves, and then boom, they make the natty, they win the natty. It could happen, and then maybe that's finally how Rick Barnes sort of gets through. Is he gets to Elite Eight, and then this is his second time ever, right? So or it was the second time ever. So maybe he's learned some things, and like we've seen him sort of evolve, transform during the season. You go back to like when we were complaining a few weeks back, and now like today, like the way he sort of read the game, controlled the flow, made the right substitutions, despite the foul trouble. I felt like very, very hopeful. And again, I'm a huge Zakai fan. Would love nothing more than him to have a great success. And I think he will go down as the greatest fall. After it's said and done, because he's approaching a lot of like all-time categories right now, like with the steals and things like that. So.
But I mean, even with all the statistical categories that he leads, I mean, I'd argue that there's nobody that's had more heart, and been more of the identity of the program, probably since Chris Lofton graduated in 08.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's been a 4-year guy. I mean, we've had guys come in and out. There's been great players. Grant Williams, Admiral Schofield, I'd give those two guys high praise. Again, they did a lot of things that hadn't been done, for a while since Bruce Pearl had left. But we know last year's team, overshadowed almost everything the Grand Admiral teams, could do. And Zakai Ziegler was a big part of that. I mean, Zakai Ziegler has been part of an Elite Eight. He's won regular season SEC championship. He's won an SEC tournament title. The only thing that's missing on the checklist, in my opinion, would be a Final Four.
Yeah, and there's a few things that you need to accomplish to get your jersey hanging on the rafters. And I think we talked about that when when the season was over last year for Dalton. Despite not winning a national championship, he qualifies because he was first team All-American. He was SEC Player of the Year. He was the best small forward in the nation, Julius Erving Award, even though the Foul Ming took the National Player of the Year title. So for Zakai, like he's now the all-time, I think, steals leader in the program history. I think he's on pace to finish as the second all-time in assists. I mean, we'll see how many games are left for him. Hopefully, a lot in the SEC tournament, a lot in the in March, and being a career leader in any category is one of the qualifications for the jersey retirement. So I feel like that could be a very solid thing, and by somehow if he wins a natty, because I don't think he's gonna make any national, he's not gonna be like first team All-American. He's not gonna be National Player of the Year like that, but if he somehow gets, who knows, his jersey could be hanging in the rafters there, so that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, the crazy part about it is the jersey he's wearing is already in the rafters, because Chris Lofton, they already retired his jersey, number 5, and it happened during, I think, Zakai's sophomore year, maybe freshman or sophomore, I can't remember, but regardless, the day prior to them doing the ceremony there for Chris and retiring his jersey, he gave Zakai the permission to wear 5 until he graduated. So it'll be really interesting. I don't know if there was any idea that Zakai would, wind up becoming what he did. But to your point, yeah, I think that it would be great.
It's kind of like Mariano Rivera and Robinson, Jackie Robinson type of,
That's right.
Because he was already wearing it. He was permitted to wear it throughout his career, and then boom, get retired. I mean,
so 2 5s, 2 5s in the ceiling, in the rafters. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah,
because obviously, like Jackie Robinson's a league-wide retirement, but there's 2 42s out in the on the outfield at Yankees, and that's like a special circumstance, right? It's not like the franchise had 2 players wear same number that were like, jersey retirement worthy of career, and we could potentially see that again. It's odds are very slim, because I think, so I was looking it up. It's like you have to win a national championship, which is not. I mean, it's the only thing that, as stupid as that sounds, that's closer to him qualifying. Just because, like, he's at this point, he's not gonna get any. He's not gonna be player of the year. He's not gonna win get voted first team All-American. So but he does qualify as a career record holder in category, as an all-time leader at the school, and if he gets national championship, that could happen. So we'll see. That'll be pretty cool.
Well, I hope that does happen, but there's still a lot of games to be played between now and then, and hopefully that'll be advantageous for me, so I can cash in on my futures bets. But
right. You already have futures bet on Tennessee, huh?
That's right.
Oh,
that's
wow.
Right.
What were the odds? I would imagine you got that like.
I think it was like plus 2,500 to make the Final Four.
Oh, wow. That is really good.
Yeah.
To make the Final Four, not even winning the whole thing.
No.
Because now it's like we're like 1,800 to win the whole thing. So
yeah,
that's a very profitable, and at least so far.
Yeah. But that was back in, I think, November.
Right. So. Yeah. Well, I will definitely be on the lookout for the documentary on. You said it's March.
I think March 10th is when it's coming out on Chris Lofton. So that was probably to get a little nostalgic. That was probably what made you a Tennessee basketball fan. That era. Of Tennessee basketball.
Chisholm and Lofton. Yeah, for sure.
Remember, I think your first game we went down and we met Wayne Chisholm. Remember that when we were in 12th grade?
That's right. Yeah. March 10th. I'm gonna have to, I guess, record it. I'm actually going to a basketball game that day, Barclays Center, to see Connect. So
DK's coming to town, huh?
Yeah. So we'll have to record it and check it out. But hopefully that's it's gonna be an exciting day. I've actually never seen Dalton in person because I didn't get to see him last year. There was no like invitational that was being played in New York or anything like that, unfortunately. So we'll be we'll see. Hopefully it's gonna be exciting. Hopefully he catches fire from 3-point line or something.
That would be cool because I think he's averaging 9 or 10 for the Lakers right now. He's doing really good for a rookie that's kind of had a very unconventional rookie year.
Right. I mean that's gotta like screw with your mentality too.
Absolutely.
And, also because like that team just got really crowded. Now you got another 6'7" guy. Arguably like top 5 player in the league. So you can't just say, well, yeah, bench Luka and start Dalton Connect. I mean, like Luka plays point guard, but like point being, just shooting also because that's what he was sort of needed for. Because there was no like shooter there, and now you have Luka, so kind of like sucks in that sense. But I still have good hopes for him. Hopefully he stays with my favorite NBA team. Will be exciting. My girlfriend and I, we bought really good seats. Dropped a lot of money, so hopefully it'll be worth it.
All right.
She bought a
little light flex there. Got a box. It's okay.
She bought we both bought a Connect jersey, the Lakers jersey.
Okay.
And then she bought an orange jacket, and I think she also said she was trying to see if she could get a Tennessee Dalton Connect jersey, but like they don't sell it anymore.
Look at Elaine doing it for the squad, man. I appreciate the love there, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, so should be a good time.
Yeah, well, I hope it is. Hope they get the win, and I hope Tennessee is able to close out the season with the last 2 dubs here and carry this momentum that we got for beating Alabama tonight again from the buzzer. Meshack, love you, man. It's been great. Thanks for all of our viewers tonight. We got up to quite a few tonight on the Facebook and through YouTube and some on X. So I appreciate all of our listeners. We will come to you again, hopefully after the Ole Miss game is complete and we'll have to check the schedules. Those midweek games are really kicking our ass lately because obviously busy professionals and life. So we're still trying to keep it fun. We're going to come at you with a couple of fun things for March Madness like we did last year for our brackets and everything else. So with that being said, man, again, Andy, it was great being on here tonight. Been a couple weeks, but all in all, a great way to celebrate a win over Bama, hanging out with you and our listeners here at Lucky Top Sports. So for Josh, he's Andrew. We love you. We'll talk to you guys again, after Tennessee hopefully takes down Ole Miss. Have a good weekend. GBO. Later.